better lock. Anyway, let me set this up. I need my ring light. Oh my god. Oh shit. I need my ring light. Ring light incoming. Oh, won't it lock? Damn it. Okay. Unorganized. There we go. Okay, well, it's not really perfect, but who cares? Como dicen, soporten. Whatever the fuck. Anyway, I got my mirror. Look at my makeup. I also need to get some nails, you guys. Well, I don't know. I wanted to come on here and chat while I do my makeup. And give y'all advice. Y'all have questions. Whatever it may be. And to get vulnerable, honestly. Wait, I'm like, also to be vulnerable. Because I've been struggling a lot with my identity. Honestly, you guys. And honestly, I think that, you know, for anyone else, I would tell them, you just have to honestly experiment things, try things out, right? If you don't like something, for example, if you don't like wearing wigs or makeup or nails or something, whatever the fuck, right? Whatever it is that you want to be or experiment with, it will be very obvious, especially if you're out in public. You're gonna hate it, right? Another thing is to follow your heart. Don't follow what other people say. Don't follow what other people have to say. You know, I feel like a lot of people comment things online and they hate or they comment their opinion or all these things. But a lot of times, you know, you can't, or I would say you have to be mindful when you comment on other people's socials or whatever, right? Because you don't actually know the full story of anything. You only know what they tell you, right? And I would say for the most part, there's a lot of influencers that are fake nowadays. And hello, welcome in. Oh my god, we got a viewer in here. I did not expect that. Welcome in. I'm doing my makeup. Oh, we got 19 people in here. Oh girl, I did not expect anybody to be viewing. I'm doing my makeup. What's up, y'all? And if y'all want to comment any questions about advice, then I'm here. If you want to comment anything about witchcraft, then I'm here, obviously. You know, herbs, crystals, colors, correspondences, Santa Muerte, whatever. But anyways, as I was saying, I've been struggling a lot with my identity, figuring out who I am. But I would say for anyone else who's struggling with that, you really have to follow your heart. You really have to listen and tune into your heart, right? Because it's really easy to get trapped in this cycle of... It's easy to get trapped in a cycle where you are afraid of what everybody else thinks, right? And you can't do that. But regardless, if you're struggling with your identity, I think you will really quickly be able to tell, right? Whether you like something, whether that be makeup. Do you like makeup? Do you like nails? Do you like wigs? Whatever. I feel like it's the same thing with clothes, right? Because it's like, you know what clothes flatters your body. You know what clothes doesn't flatter your body, etc. Boy, let me not spill this. I'm good. How are you? God. I saw a ton of TikTok about this, what is it called again? The Estee Lauder Double Wear foundation and stuff, and people weren't sure how you use it. Like if it doesn't come with the dropper or whatever. But someone just taught me that you put your index finger and you just turn it over and use the amount on your index finger. That's something that I saw on TikTok, by the way. Also, I wanted to remind everybody that you should be very proud of yourself, right? I think for me, I've been struggling with having any pride, honestly. But, you know, you've been through such a hard life, right? You've been through a lot. Some of us have been through abuse. I don't really know the censorship rules on here, so I'm not going to talk about a lot of things. But you've been through abuse, emotional, what is it called? Emotional abuse, things like that. Maybe even your own parents were the ones who betrayed you, backstabbed you, said horrible things to you. And you're still here. You've chosen to persevere through all of that. You're still here. You're still alive. And I think that, we should all have pride for that. We should all be proud of ourselves for all that we have survived. Not just when it comes to like the pandemic, but also our individual experiences, our individual stories. This also reminds me a lot how I feel like people want things to be very black and white, but honestly, when you talk about the human experience or drama or social media or anything like that, it never really is black and white because you have to remember there's context to everything, right? Which reminds me of like, you know what this reminds me of? The show Ginny and Georgia. I don't know if you guys have watched it, but it reminds me so much of that because I forgot her name, but there's a character in the show, and Ginny. Well, if you don't know the show, you probably don't know what I'm talking about. But if you do know the show, basically, it's about a mother and daughter, and it covers about like their boundary and how the daughter has to move a lot and how, well, the mother's trying the best that she can, but she's really not. But she's not being considerate of her own child. She's not actually listening to her child or her needs. Anyway, but the point is, there's a lawyer in the show, basically, and the lawyer or this character talks about how her job, I think it's like what is it called? A criminal defense attorney, something like that. But she talks about how her job is to figure out why people do bad things, right? Because she defends criminals, things like that. So there's always like a reason behind everything, especially when you talk about social media, when you talk about scandals, when you talk about drama, right? And I feel like people try to make everything black and white, but it's not. You have to remember that there's a lot of context that we don't know about, that we don't see, that, you know, unless the person involved in the drama presents all of the information, we can't really make a full educated judgment because there's still so much that we don't know about the situation. I think that's something that should be stressed, or what is it called? I don't fucking know the word. That's something that should be like, I guess, a reminder for everybody on social media. Like, be careful, right, about what you comment about other people, because often you don't know the whole context. You don't know if it's really that black and white. Because if someone said something that wasn't good, or, there was a scandal, you don't really know what else went on behind the scenes. You don't know what those two people texted. You don't know what those people said to each other. You don't know if there's family wrapped up in that. You don't know if, well, we don't know anything, right? We only know what those people represent in the media. Okay, let me stop. Okay, bitch, let me. Also, if y'all have makeup tips, let me know, because clearly I need some. I'm gonna do a whole ass eye look. I did an eye look before, and it was all blue, but it was not that good, honestly. And I was using a different foundation. It was the wrong shade, so it didn't look good. This is gonna be my podcast. I'm kidding. Shit. Let me see. You know, ooh, okay, I know something else we can talk about. I just remembered something that I used to do myself, actually. I would, I was obsessed with any form of escapism, honestly. I'm gonna be real with you guys. I remember on Discord, right, I had a friend, actually. We don't speak anymore. We're not friends anymore, unfortunately, but, you know, God bless them. They were an amazing friend, and they put up with so much with me. Um, they were more so of an adult, I think. So anyway, I was really young. I don't know, I was like 16, 17. But the point is, me and that person, sorry you guys, I feel like I can't multitask. Oh my god. Hold on. Okay, hold on. I need to get a better blush. Cause that's ugly. Oh. So basically, me and this person, we were friends, best friends. We would talk online, all these things. And I would always rant to them because, you know, my childhood was really rough and I had an abusive parent. Um, and I would always be ranting to her. I would tell her like, "Oh my god, this happened. Oh my god, that happened. Oh my god, this, that," and you guys know, right? Like, I'm sure you guys have done it at some point too, where you just rant, 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 and like you can't stop, or you do it multiple times. But I would send her like a ton of gifts, basically, and images of like, it was like like a, what is it called, like a space image. It was basically like gifts of space or like graphics. But the point is, right, I would always send those to her plus a fucking essay, and she ended up bringing to my attention that in reality, right, I, oh, that, oh, bitch, oh, honey, honey, okay, let me take all that. Anyway, y'all see all that fucking follow? Anyway, she brought to my attention, who cares, we're gonna rock this shit. Anyway, um, she brought to my attention that obviously my situation was really shitty and it was really horrible, but there was no point of me telling her. There was no point of me talking to her about it. There was no point of me ranting if I was literally gonna sit there and do nothing, you know? Obviously, I think that ranting is fine, but if you're in any sort of if you're in any abusive situation, at some point you just have to decide that you're gonna stand up and do something. And I'm mostly speaking about, don't clip that. I'm speaking about like mother and son, right? Or father and son or daughter or whatever. Because sometimes, right, your parents abuse you. Sometimes your parents, whether that's intentionally or unintentionally, they do. And it hurts you. It creates so much wounds. But at some point, you have to stand up for yourself and, you know, whether that be communicate your boundaries. If that person still doesn't understand your boundaries, maybe it's time that the both of you get up and go to therapy together. If that doesn't work or they're not open to it, then, you know, tell people at your school, tell teachers, right? Things like that. Um, and I mean, I would recommend y'all, like, if y'all are ever in an abusive situation where your parents are being abusive to you, then I would recommend 100% that y'all do family therapy. Best decision. Now, I never got to do it for a variety of reasons. I don't really want to get into that, but let me see. But at some point, you have to stand up and do something, right? Whether that be getting your own job, right? Because when you talk about a abusive parent, abusive mother, or when you talk about like a protective parent or an overprotective parent, you have to remember, first of all, it probably stems from their own trauma, their own beliefs, that they're scared, that they've been attracted, they've been betrayed, attacked, and betrayed, right? So you have to understand things from their side, right? Obviously, their trauma, their abuse, all that other shit, it doesn't excuse anything, and it doesn't excuse any abuse that they do towards you, right? Because you're their child, right? So it even if you can have empathy for your own parent and understand where they're coming from, it's not excusable, period. But when you talk about being with an abusive mother or a overprotective parent, you have to remember that usually they want to be attached to you for life, right? They want to stick within this bound of codependency, right? Of being with you literally 24/7. They want you to go everywhere with them. They want you to go to the store, to if they have other boyfriends, like multiple partners, they want you to go out on dates with all of the partners, or literally every little thing, right? If they're gonna go visit their sister, the family, everything. And let's just say, for example, let's say your mother, your father, whoever is going out on dates with two men or whoever, right? Then, and you're expressing that you don't want to go, sometimes they're not going to listen to that and they're going to make you go, things like that. Or to the store, right? I mean, it's not just as simple as a store, but basically the point is they're going to end up taking you absolutely everywhere, even if you express that you're uncomfortable with going to certain places, being around certain environments, things like that. So when they do that and you feel like you have no other option, you have to be real with yourself. You can't just sit there and be paralyzed and, scroll on your phone and, be in this fake world, because let's be real, life is here. It's not on these social media devices, at least not yet. Um, so you can do a couple things, right? Get a family therapist, go to therapy with them, right? Obviously, there might be resistance to that. If that doesn't work, then you might have to get your own job. You might have to, pick up a part-time, right? Or be with your friends, right? You have to distance, right? And it also depends on how long this abuse has been going on for. Because if it's been going on for years, years, and years, obviously you're gonna lash out. Obviously you're gonna be angry. Obviously you might get to a point where you're not gonna be held accountable, or you can't hold yourself accountable or regulate these emotions, regulate the anger. So like I said, first thing I'd recommend, go to a family therapist. The first thing I'd recommend is talk to them. If that doesn't work and it hasn't worked for, whatever amount of times you tried, then go to a family therapist. And then if that doesn't work, I'd recommend, like I said, getting a job, a part-time, right? If you're on the younger side, go out with your friends, stay after school. And I know that, a lot of people, I feel like nowadays don't really like school and stuff. And I was one of those kids. I hated school, and bitch, I still hate school. But I hated school so much, and still do. Forever a school hater. But if that's your only safe place, your only safe environment, the only place where you're going to be validated or loved or shown any sort of kindness or appreciation for who you are and what you do, then that's where you should stay, right? Stay there after school. You don't necessarily, obviously, if you have the ability to, then I'd recommend staying after school and getting math help or help on whatever subject you need. If you don't want to, you can't, then just stay there and hang out, right? With your friends, whatever. Because you have to really put it in mind, because if your parent or if your parent is not respecting your boundaries, then you don't have another choice, right? Stay after school, do the family therapist, right? Or go out, right? Like, for example, go out to the library. Now, I want to make this very clear. It's a very different thing if you're going out because you're going to do, I don't know if you could say it on here, but if you're going to do, like, powder, right? Or things like that, or addictions, right? That's a very different thing. But if you're honestly gonna go out to hang out with a friend, if you're honestly gonna go out to go to the library, then I think you should. And I think that there's nothing wrong with that, right? It helps you get out of the house. It helps you relieve yourself of your responsibilities, right? Because often when you're dealing with abusive parents, they put so many responsibilities on you, the child, that you shouldn't have to take care of, that you are too young to take care of, right? That, well, they just shouldn't be putting on you, It's their job, right? And also, I want to talk about a little bit, like, when it comes to, I mean, I'm not sure what the rules are in here. That's the only reason why I'm censoring myself, because I don't know. But when it comes to, like, what is it called? I don't know how to say it, but, like, I know that there's obviously a lot of single mothers, and a lot of times maybe they have to working in very prerogative work and industries. So I'm not shaming them at all, right? They got to do what they got to do to get their bag. Also applies to trans people, etc. So there's no shame in that. But I'm saying, like, sometimes parents just don't understand the boundary. They don't understand the emotional distress, right? So if you're ever included in that, in any degree, right? I'm saying, like, even going out to dinners, going out to eat, whatever, in any sort of degree, no matter how minimal the degree is, or no matter how how do I say it? I guess you could say how, whether you're involved 100% or involved 1%, you need to establish that boundary. And if that boundary is not respected, then you have your options, right? Go out more to the library with your friends. Find groups around you, right? Research groups, do the family therapy. Yeah, and I would say do groups. Groups really help. Like youth groups, all these other things, right? Or get a part-time job, right? Because you need distance from this person, right? And this also applies, yeah, I would say you need distance from that abusive parent, right? So that's what I would recommend for you guys, is to distance yourself with time, whether that be staying after school, you know, all these things. And that's something that took me a while to do, to actually, you know, get over my escapism phase, because I would literally just be on my phone all day, and you know, I talk about how much I hate my life and how I was sad and depressed, but I never did anything about it. But contrary to what popular belief, contrary to what a lot of people say, as long as you are not dead, I don't remember the quote, but basically, as long as you are alive and as long as you have a will, there's always a way, right? Or whether that be reporting your parent, right? I mean, that's a much more aggressive approach, right? Just be mindful that, I don't know what they censor on here, but like, just be mindful that, you know, some services don't do shit. So just be mindful of that. But if you feel that that's best for you, if you feel that's comfortable, then report your parent or have a teacher, a counselor, a therapist. Get the help that you need. And also don't procrastinate. Don't feel pressured though. Because I think so many people nowadays feel pressured to be something big, to do this, to do that, and that's unrealistic, you know? Put yourself first, put your happiness first, put your self-love first, put your identity, your discovery, all about you first, right? Because if you're not complete, if you're not full, if you're the one who's pouring from an empty cup, then you're not pouring shit. So I ate that. Anyway, but like, if you're pouring from an empty cup, you're not pouring anything. So you're not doing anything. So that's why you need to make sure that your cup is filled. That's why you need to make sure that you're exploring, that you're embracing your fluidness in fashion, in gender, in whatever, in topics, right? In whatever it is that you want to say. Alex, the blush is intense. Okay. Soporten. No me importa. Speaking Spanglish. Bueno. ¿Cómo están, comadres, hoy? No sé, no me gusta hablar mucho el español porque siento que no, o sea, que no hablo bien. Pero, ni modo. Ay, no, mira, me puse demasiado. Ay. Pues me voy a ver como una fresa. Pero, ni modo. ¿Saben qué? Vamos a hablar de la Santísima Muerte. Bueno, más bueno quiero hablar de sus aspectos. Por ejemplo, la niña dorada. Ella obviamente te ayuda con el éxito, te ayuda con dinero, con abundancia. Y obvio, cuando trabajas con ella, con este aspecto de la Santa Muerte, pues tienes que, ¿cómo se dice? O sea, tienes que trabajar duro. Tú también tienes que echarle ganas. Tú también no puedes nada más andar ahí que, hoy le voy a pedir a la Santa Muerte dorada que me dé dinero, que me dé éxito, que me dé abundancia, y no hacer nada, ¿verdad? Por ejemplo, si tú estás en las redes sociales, entonces tienes que publicar más. Tienes que ver tus propios videos y también reflexionar por qué este video me fue más bien que el otro, porque este video tuvo más vistas o más likes o más comentarios que este video, ¿verdad? Y cosas así. Y con el tiempo tú tienes que ir comparando y haciendo todos los cambios en tu contenido, en tu trabajo, en la escuela, cosas así, ¿verdad? Y pues también, ¿y qué más? Oh, y ofrendas para la Santa Muerte pueden ser como manzanas, ¿cómo se dice? Amarillas, o aunque sean falsas o pintadas o lo que sea. Flores amarillas, miel, dulces, ¿verdad? Que sean amarillos, chocolate, leche, agua. Y sí, obvio también hay muchas personas que dicen que ella es celosa, que ella es mala, cosas así. Ella no es celosa, pero yo lo pienso de esta manera. A ver, si a ti no te gustaría si las personas te estuvieran comparando, ¿verdad? Entonces no compares a la Santa Muerte, ¿verdad? De eso se trata más o menos, que no la estés comparando, que no, pues sí, que no la estés comparando. Y pues ella no es celosa, ella tiene respeto, ella es amor, es muy grande y ella acepta a todos, ella no discrimina. Y obvio, si vas a trabajar con ella, tú tienes que tener un fe muy inmenso, muy grande en ella, más grande de todo en tu vida, ¿verdad? Y es algo que, bueno, al menos yo es algo que yo pienso y que yo creo, ¿verdad? Cuando tú te dedicas o te devocionas o te haces devoto de la Santa Muerte, tu fe, tu amor, tu paz, no solo con ella y por ella, pero también por ti, tiene que ser muy grande, muy poderoso, muy exitoso. Y como dicen las perdidas o la Karina y la Paula, ¿cómo se dice? Oh, que en su canción dicen el éxito es la única ruta, algo así. Pues así tiene que ser con ella. Y bueno, contigo mismo, ¿verdad? Porque también, obvio, si tú vas a tener fe, vas a tener orgullo, vas a tener amor, vas a tener, vamos a decir, esas virtudes, o cómo se dice, if you're gonna have those virtues, ¿verdad? Y si tú vas a tener esos creencias o, sí, creencias sobre ella, pues también sobre ti, porque tú no te puedes pensar menos, ¿verdad? Eh, de ti mismo, pues no, eres un humano y todos necesitamos respeto, todos, obvio, pues no le haces daño a nadie expresándote tú, no le haces daño a nadie siendo feliz, vistiéndote como tú quieras, o como sea, hombre, mujer, lo que tú quieras. Y pues si la demás gente no soporta, pues ese es problema de ellos. Eso ya es batalla de ellos, eso no es batalla de ti, eso no es reflexión de ti, ¿verdad? Ellos tienen que soportar porque todos tenemos nuestra vida ¿cómo se dice? O sea, separadas por una razón, ¿verdad? Y pues por eso yo no me ofendo con nada de redes sociales y cosas así. Porque pues para qué. Para mí no hay punto hacer eso. Yo sigo aquí, adinerada. No nos creo. Maybe, no nos crees. Anyway. Y sí. Yo sé que me estoy tardando un chingo, pero ni modo. Soporten. I don't give a crap. Okay. I'm having time. We're having tea. Anyway, also, I'm going to translate for other people in English who don't know what I just said. Basically, I was talking about the La Santa Muerte Dorada or La Niña Dorada, which is basically the gold aspect of La Santa Muerte. And basically, I was saying how she helps with abundance, she helps with success, she helps with money, she helps with prosperity, business, you know, obviously, though, you can't be lazy with her. You have to put in the hard ass work. You have to have your virtues and put in that work. You cannot be lazy with her. You cannot just ask her and expect money to fall into your hands, right? You have to put in the work. Think about a team effort. This is a team effort between the both of you to make success, to make an impact in the world, right? Now, yeah, and her offerings would be like gold apples, whether they're real, fake, painted, whatever. You could also just draw her in like, you know, draw her in gold or paint her gold, whatever. chocolates, money, coins, bills, whatever, dollar bills, right? Things like that. Those would be really good offerings for La Niña Dorada. Those would be really good. Obviously, I would say talk to her, speak to her from the heart, talk to her. Forming an actual connection takes a long time. It takes, it varies for every single person. And just know that she is a very lifelong commitment. And yeah, there's a lot of benefits to working with her, but the way that I think about it is she is your mother, right? But she's also justice. That's why she holds the scales in her hand. So she will be just, right? She knows when you're lying. She knows when you're being a little too much, right? She knows when you're undermining, underpricing yourself. She knows it all. She sees it all, right? She knows when it's from the heart and when it's not. But also, you guys, what I've always said is, she might grab you or she might drag you and shit. And just life in general is gonna drag you, right? Life is hard. But as long as you're holding onto the hand of La Santa Muerte, it doesn't matter because she will never let you go, right? No matter what happens in life, no matter how bad, how horrible it gets, as long as you have your faith, your devotion, your heart in this and with her, then, she will protect you. She will guide you. She will keep you safe through whatever, through a scandal, through life, through death, through whatever it is, And there's no point. I know there's so many people that don't like her or that say false things about her or whatever, or say that she's like a narco saint or whatever, or that she's dangerous or whatever. But the reality is now she's kind, she's loving. And there's no point in hating her or avoiding her or despising her or anything because she's deaf. She comes for us all eventually. And if you really think about it, the only thing that's promised in this life is death. Which is really dark to think about, but it's true. Anyways, you guys, I think I'm gonna end the transmission here. But I love all of you. Thank you everybody for watching. I saw some of y'all watching. Thank you. And thank you for everybody who commented. I might start doing these daily actually. But I hope that this gave you knowledge. Well, I'm not gonna end right now, I'm gonna do my outlook, but I hope that this did give you knowledge, peace, love, whatever. And I'd recommend all of you to be authentic and to experiment. There's nothing wrong with your experimentation. Experiment. If you want to document it, then so be it. Do whatever it is that you want to do. Do whatever it is that makes you happy. And, don't mind the haters. The way I think about it is you need to be your biggest motivation. Your haters, your fans can be great motivation, right? But you need to also have motivation and discipline within yourself without fans, without haters, right? If you get haters, if you get fans, then that's just an added bonus, right? I've also feel like I've been trying to become a lot more modest. Is that the right word? Generally, like, I have to plan this I look, but being more happy, more grateful, and fulfilled for all the things that I have, And I am thankful. I am grateful because right now, at least, I don't have to worry about money. I don't have to worry about food, anything. And always be grateful for that, you guys. Whether you're a child or you're 30 now or whatever, right? Always have gratitude. Always be grateful. I feel like my perspective has been changing so much, and some of us are raised where you're taught that the entire world is out to get you, where you're taught that the entire world hates you. And I want to say this very clearly. I'm saying, listen to my words very clearly. I'm saying some of us were raised, and I mean that. Some of us were raised by parents, right? Or mothers or fathers or whoever, to be literally paranoid or to feel like everyone is out to get you because maybe that's how, our parents actually felt in their own life, right? maybe because they went through trauma, maybe because of their own misfortunes or whatever. But that's not the truth. You can feel safe. You can feel welcomed within yourself, within who you are, within your identity, within your own self-love. And that's the most important thing of all, is that you feel safe within yourself, that you feel safe within where you are, that you feel safe within your body, within your exploration, your experimentation, you know? Because there are some of us now who grow up thinking, oh, I'm scared, oh, this and that. And you have to remember, sometimes all of these thoughts aren't yours. Sometimes all of these thoughts are literally from your parents. I know it's really hard, you guys, but you have to do your best to not internalize everything that everybody else is telling you. You need to internalize what you want to be, who you want to be, what you want to be, who you are, etc., etc., etc. You need to internalize you, not your mom, not your father, not all of these other people. You want some motivation? Grab your notebook, look in the mirror. Grab your notebook, ask yourself 5 questions about who you are, about yourself, a sense of self, your identity. You'll probably have a freaking crisis, midlife crisis, whatever it's called. So let's talk about that first. Because remember that not all of the ideas that are in your head are yours. There's a lot of things that were instilled or internalized into you from parents, from people, from friends, from social media. And that's just the truth. That's the tea. Anyways, I'm gonna end the live here. Look at this. I'm eating this eye look. I mean, is it the best? No, but you know what? I really don't give a fuck, bitch. I'm in this era where, like, I just need to be happy with myself. Because let me tell you guys something. When someone is so unhappy with themselves, when someone cannot accept themselves, love themselves, anything that anyone else says to them, they will cry. They will get mad. They will get immediately offended. So you need to love yourself. You need to be so secure that no matter what people say, you're not offended. You're not gagged. You're not gonna automatically, you know. And that's the truth. It is. Because it's like, if you're so secure with yourself, then you're not gonna care what other people think. Period. Right? Obviously there's a difference between, like, defending yourself, but I'm talking specifically, right? And I'm talking for me because I also used to be one of those people. I cared what everybody else think. I cared about this, I cared about that. If people would make jokes or whatever, I would take it so seriously. I would take it so seriously, you guys. And I'd be pissed, I'd be mad, I'd be upset. I'd just take it so seriously and be mad, be upset. I really, really would. And it's like, it's not that serious. And it's like, remember, especially these people don't know you, right? So, or if you're on social media, then, you know, like, who cares about all these other people? Who cares about, you know, these haters? They don't know anything about you. They don't know who you are. Anyways, I'm ending the live, but okay, I just said that like 3 times. But last thing I want to say to you guys is, if you want to be a light in this world, if you truly want to help people, inspire people, give advice, then sell your product, sell your service, whether that be tarot, spells, whatever it may be, and or, right, just be yourself, be authentic, because people can tell when you're not being authentic. People can spot a fake from a mile away. So I'm very moody. It depends, right? Sometimes I'm moody. Sometimes I'm a bad bitch. Sometimes I'm not a bad bitch. Sometimes I'm just very calm. Like, I would say, like, Wendy. Y'all know who I'm talking about, right? Wendy Ortiz. Like, well, she seems like an amazing person from what I know. But anyway, my point about bringing her up, though, is from all the clips that I have personally seen, I love her because she's so calm, down to earth, but also she's kind of like me because I feel like a lot of times I'm very nonchalant, or I try to be nonchalant. It's not really because I'm uncomfortable. It's not really also just because some people might think I'm upset or whatever, but I think that's just the way that I am, and I feel like that's better because then I can articulate, or I can take my time to articulate what I want to say or what I want to do, right? Because like her resting, or I feel like in general, her face. Well, basically in general, she's just very like calm, right? I guess you could say nonchalant. So, yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that's a great. Oh, now I'm confused now. What the fuck? Wasn't it like orange? Anyways, that's the last thing I wanted to say, you guys. I love all of you. I'm gonna go ahead and hop off. Thank you everybody for watching this transmission. Well, no, that's transmission. Thank you for watching this live, everyone. I love all of you. Take care. And let's do this eye look. Y'all better go put on some makeup. Go dance. Do whatever makes you feel happiest. Whatever makes you feel authentic. Whatever makes you feel true to you. Go have fun for me. Go have fun. If you can't do it for yourself, then do it for me, okay? Get yourself up out of bed. Get yourself out of that damn depression. You are really loved in this world. I promise you. And if no one has told you that they love you, bitch, I love you. I fucking love you because I know that you're a great person. I know that you have potential. I know that you have a purpose here. Maybe that's being a singer, a star. Maybe it's not. You know, everyone has a different life. Some people love working on 9 to 5, and that's for them. Some people love the traditional path of college, and that's for them. Some people love to sing, and that's for them. Some people love to act, that's for them. Some people love to do role plays on Minecraft, that's for them. Some people love to have their YouTube channels dedicated to purely gaming, that's for them, right? So you all have a life, a purpose here where you can inspire people, where you can be iconic, or maybe you don't. Maybe you do want to be famous, but you're not going to be the spokesperson for your entire community, right? Or whatever, right? So, you know, to each their own. I think it's very much life plays out. And also for all of my young people here, like, life plays out in a great, magnificent way. So you need to have patience, all right? You know, breakthroughs can take years, decades, right? Sabrina Carpenter. Think about Karina y Paula. Think about them, bitch. They started like 10 years ago, right? I mean, I don't know how recently they blew up, but you know, I'm assuming, right, it took some time, and they did, right? Bueno, les voy a dejar. I'm leaving, y'all. Les voy a dejar, los amo a todos. I'ma go. I love you all. Y pues sigan viviendo sus vidas. Nunca paren, y pues que les valga lo que diga la demás gente. Y también recuerden que una persona insegura, que una persona que no tiene amor y no está segura en sí misma, todo lo que digan sobre esa persona les molesta, les pudre. Por eso ustedes tienen que ponerse su maquillaje o hacer lo que tengan que hacer, o pues el punto es que ustedes se acepten y se amen entre ustedes mismos, punto. Remember, an insecure person who is not happy, who does not accept themselves, easily gets triggered by the smallest comment, by the smallest thing, right? So love yourself, accept yourself most importantly. And if you know, if you want to express yourself with makeup, clothes, whatever, then you do that. Anyways, I love you all. Take care. Los amo todo. Bye. Tengan el mejor día y gracias por verme.